about to listen to the Dr. Dahlia Show. Sassy, stimulating medical talk radio. Any medical advice Dr. Dahlia Wax gives on her show should not be substituted for an actual visit to your medical provider. And now, here's Dr. Dahlia.
Welcome back to the Dr. Dahlia Show, 1-877-DOC-DAHLIA, 1-877-DOC-DALI. So I've been playing pickleball, and I know I was making fun. Yes, I know I was making fun of it. Can I explain? Can I explain? Okay, let me explain why I made fun of pickleball. It's not that I was making fun of pickleball or pickleball players. It's during COVID. If you remember, I live in Nevada. So our governor at the time, Governor Sisolak, had closed down, dental offices, salons, restaurants, bars. But with the reopening, and I guess that first tier of reopening, that first phase, he said, we could play pickleball. I was like, what? What's pickleball? Okay. Now, by the way, pickleball's been around since the 60s. I mean, it's been around for a while. But I was like, what? And I'm like, people don't want to play pickleball. They want to go to the dentist. I mean, they want to get the oral surgery. They want to go to school. They want, but what the hell is this? And some of my students were like, oh, pickleball's really, really cool, Dr. Dahlia. You'd like it. So I started playing, and I played with some students, and then my son got into it, but we didn't play a lot because you have to find a pickleball court. See, I really like racquetball. If you ask me what my favorite sport to play is, it's football. Although it's really hard because, people don't want to really tackle, you're a girl and so I don't really get to really play real football. But racquetball, I could play racquetballs. I love racquetball. But if you don't have a court, you don't play. So finally, my neighborhood, excuse me, my neighborhood set up some pickleball courts. So you go there, and basically pickleball, very interesting. Pickleball was designed by a family. I apologize. Let me get the names right with this. I don't know what it is. I think I swallowed down the wrong tube. Hold on. I got to wet my whistle. Sorry, people. Is it wet my whistle or drink? Okay, maybe that'll help. Which, by the way, it really doesn't. If I'm coughing because I got something in my trachea, swallowing water doesn't necessarily help. But it helps with the throat. Anyway, there were these guys. Let me give credit where credit is due. I apologize. Let me see if I have the name of them. There was a, hold on one second. Okay, there we go. Joel Pritchard, Barney McCallum, and Bill Bell. Back in 1965 on Bainbridge Island in Washington, they went for a golf game. They come back and the families are bored. So they go, let's just, take the badminton stuff, the tennis stuff, and let's play a game. They lowered the netting so the little kids could play. And even though everybody said, well, their dog's name was Pickle. No, they got their dog later. That's been disproven. The pickleball is not named after a dog. Good, because I got a dog named Snort. And I don't know, Snort ball could be kind of fun, but that's a different story for a different day. So I guess like a pickle boat is where you have all sorts of leftover stuff. So that's where it came from. Well, guys, let's just get these paddles and get some badminton stuff, some tennis stuff. And they made it, and they kind of built a court, and neighbors thought it was cool. And then it expanded. And it's expanded to the point now where it's the official sport of Washington. We're talking about Washington State. You got the Seahawks, Mariners, but the official sport of Washington is pickleball. Why? Well, they want to get credit. Pickleball has gotten so popular, they say 20 million Americans on up are playing. But I have some issues with it. It's not for the weak. Trust me, it's a blood sport. With pickleball, it's interesting because when you love racquetball like me, okay, even though pickleball is kind of like table tennis, badminton, regular tennis, racket is a little bit like a racquetball racket because it's shorter and wider. It's nothing like that. And so for me, a ball's coming at me. I want to hit that sucker and hit that sucker hard. Can't do that with pickleball. And the ball has holes in it. So I live in an area that's really, really windy. So the ball goes up and down. So you're thinking that ball is coming. If you've ever played tennis or you've played racquetball, you already know the speed. You know how to brace. And the pickleball is light. And then it even will fly to the other. I mean, you have to really understand wind dynamics and be a meteorologist and a mathematician at the same time. So I have a problem with that. The other problem I have is the pickleball courts are smaller. And so a lot of these places combine a lot of them at once. And so you have other people that, might not play as well, and their balls keep coming into your court. And okay, with tennis courts, you have to really suck for your ball to go to another person's court. But with pickleball, depending on the wind, depending on whatever, your partner could be standing there and the ball hits off of them. And because it's so light, it goes to the. So with that's kind of an issue that I have, because I don't mind getting other people's balls. But, I'm trying to play a game. And my score was kind of rough yesterday. Also, you have to really, really be up to date on the score if you have partners. So let's say I'm the first server, so I'm 1, and then my partner would be 2. So let's say I'm serving, and it's like maybe 1-0, and then you're 1. All right, so you do your score first. But then if it's the other side, then it's 0-1-1 or it's 0-1-2. So that gets pretty confusing. So you've got to kind of think a little bit. But just from the play dynamics, I can't play pickleball as well as other sports because pickleball is not very compatible with boobies. If you at all are above a B cup, maybe a C cup, the boobies get in the way. They just do. You can't play with boobies. And it's not because racquetball, it's easy. Racquetball, it's duct tape, super glue, sports bra, spandex, whatever. I could play racquetball without a problem. But pickleball, maybe it's because of the wind. Maybe it's because you're running around a lot. But no, I don't think it's a game. And mind you, it was, devised by men. Men came up with it. It is for men and kids and all that. And women play well. I just don't know what to do with the boobies. So what I'm going to try to do is double sports bra and see if that helps. But all I know is my game stunk. I think yesterday it was 1-11-1. I had 1 point and I played against my son, who got 11 points. And by the way, it's not easy when you're a parent and your children do better in sports than you when you used to run faster and be good in sports. That was kind of hard to take. But we got pickleball. I mean, try it out. Just don't fall and hurt yourself. A lot of injuries, but it is cool and it is fun. 1-877-Doc-Dolly. Don't go away.
Have you ever thought you'd like to buy and sell houses but didn't know how or where to get the money? My name is Ron LeGrand, and over the past 40 years, I've bought over 3,000 houses without using my money or credit and taught thousands to do the same. Today, even in a virtual environment, we buy nice houses in nice neighborhoods using no banks, realtors, contractors, or other costly entanglements, and build huge cash flow and wealth without the hassle of tenants, all without credit and little or no money. You don't need a license or experience, and I'll show you exactly how it's done. Text FREE to 99-799, and I'll send you my free training. I promise you I'll change the way you think about real estate and open the door to a new lifestyle that doesn't involve risk or rehabs and can quickly replace your current income. Text FREE to 99-799, and let me show you how to take your life back and build cash flow and wealth from your home. That's FREE to 99-799. Again, FREE to 99-799.
Hi, it's Mark Falter, host of the Financial Fitness Show. I strongly believe that no one should ever pay 1 penny more in taxes than they are legally obligated. Unfortunately, for most hardworking Americans, this just isn't the case. Why? Because most people spend more time planning next weekend's getaway than trying to ensure they're going to pay less in taxes. My financial fitness team has put together some materials that I know are going to help you. It's the Tax Savings Kit. Tax Savings Kit includes 3 things: free tax analysis, top 10 ways to pay less in taxes, and an investor's guide to taxes. Now, how do you get it? Simple. 866-764-2635. Again, 866-764-2635. I'm Mark Falter. This is Financial Fitness, making personal finance profitable.
back on the Dr. Dahlia Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-DOC-DALI, 1-877-DOCDALI. Big thanks to Talk Media Network for making the show happen. Big thanks to Daniel, our producer. And big thanks to y'all for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter or X at Dr. Dahlia, Facebook, The Dr. Dahlia Show, and on YouTube, click like and subscribe. So Timothy asks, is Mojtaba Khomeini in a coma? So Mojtaba Khomeini is the son of the Ayatollah. He is the one that has been named the new supreme leader. I think that happened, last week after Ayatollah Khomeini Ali had been killed. And we heard he was injured. He's alive. Iran is saying he's alive. But there's been some talk that he's in a coma or he was injured. I can't verify, but Iran International and other sources report that, he is John Baz of Ramadan, which suggests that he is, a veteran or he's been hurt. War hero. Jan Baz means like an injured war veteran. So he has not appeared publicly, and also he's probably in hiding too because he thinks his life is in danger, because the last thing anybody wants, especially the people of Iran, is to have the same as the father. Right now we just cannot confirm, but yes, there has been news that he may be in a coma and he may have been injured pretty significantly. Unfortunately, Iran is not as concerned about civilians as everybody else involved is, and CENTCOM, Central Command, has issued a safety warning to Iranian civilians because the regime is launching their drones and their ballistic missiles out of heavy populated areas. So what America and Israel have been able to do very successfully is find where they're launching these and stop them so they can't launch any more drones or go to the mothership, so to speak. But if they are operating like Gaza did by schools or hospitals, or it allows these, this disgusting regime to use people as shields, use their civilians as shields. And so, yes, they've been, the U.S. and Israel are targeting oil facilities, they're targeting boats, they're trying to avoid civilians, but Iran found our weak spot. Do you guys remember with Superman? On Superman 2, right? I mean, we're talking back in the 80s, Superman 2, where the bad guys are like, well, we found his weak spot. Superman really cares for these earthlings and these humans. And so we can go after him by putting these people at risk. That's exactly what Iran is doing. Okay, they know America and Israel do not want to attack civilians. There's no way. I mean, the PR crisis that always seems to ensue anytime Israel says anything. I mean, you thought there's Trump derangement syndrome. There's Israel derangement syndrome, too, where anything Israel does is bad. Israel gets attacked, hostages taken, women raped and murdered, babies beheaded, and Israel somehow is the bad guy. I mean, come on. And so Iran is like, look, they don't want any more bad press because apparently they believe that they buckle to it, or that it changes their foreign policy. So what they're doing is they're moving, or they've entrenched much of their artillery and their weaponry in highly populated areas. And so the fact that Iranian forces have no problem doing that, including Dezful, Isfahan, Shiraz, this is where they're launching their one-way attack drones and ballistic missiles. So U.S. forces are urging civilians in Iran to remain at home, warning that locations used for military purposes could lose protected status under international law and become legitimate targets. According to Admiral Brad Cooper, commander of CENTCOM, they said Iran's terrorist regime is blatantly disregarding civilian lives by attacking Gulf partners while compromising their safety of their own people. The U.S. forces are trying to take every feasible precaution to minimize civilian harm, but they cannot guarantee safety near facilities used by the Iranian regime. So CENTCOM announced that Tehran had launched hundreds of ballistic missiles and thousands of drones since the start of Operation Epic Fury on February 28th. Launch rates have declined, if you've noticed, thank God. And I think they are starting to run really low. But sadly, Iran has targeted civilian airports, hotels across the Middle East as part of these retaliatory attacks against several Gulf states, including the UAE, Kuwait, Bahrain, according to Fox News. So the ministry said that the UAE's Ministry of Defense released footage of his air defenses intercepting and destroying these drones. It's stupid of Iran to get these other countries involved because they could group together and annihilate them. But we'll see what they do and we'll see what happens. But they have been intercepting. UAE says since the start of the attacks, they've intercepted 221 ballistic missiles and 1,300 drones, along with 8 cruise missiles. So, they have, a good defense system up, but, when does this end? So, while we're watching what's going on in terms of, the Straits of Hormuz and all that, one thing that has really kind of been glaringly apparent or blaringly apparent is where is the American sentiment? I saw this meme one of my friends posted where you see a woman with multiple colored hair, a shirt that basically says blank Trump, and a Gaza flag on her shirt and a sign saying Free Palestine. All right, and this is what we saw, right, the last 2 years. Yet, in the next picture, you see the same woman with the same shirt saying blank Trump, but don't free Iran. Well, okay, we have Iranian women trying to seek asylum in Australia. We have proof that tens of thousands of people were killed under this regime, Americans included. You have individuals that are suffering by a disgusting, evil regime. Just radio silence? Where's the protesters? I thought you were all about freeing innocent civilians. I would have also liked to see, I would have liked to see free the hostages. I would have liked to see some protests for that. No. It was Israel got attacked. Israel deserved it. And Gazans and Palestinians need to be freed from Israel. They're under Hamas rule. Free, and I was like, why don't you guys have free Palestinians or Gazans from Hamas? But there were protests everywhere. Now it's okay, guys, just change the sign to free Iranians from the Iran regime. Nothing. I don't get it. And it's so apparent that, what's your message here? Is it if Trump comes up with it, whatever it is, it's bad. I thought you were all about freeing people. I mean, I'm very frustrated because if you want to be humanitarian and you want to, and personally, I want Palestinians away from Hamas rule. Israel left that area, back in 2005. Saying, look, if you don't want us to manage things, fine. You guys can manage it themselves. Well, Hamas takes over. That's what happens when there's a vacuum. Terrorists take over. And so if you want to be in support of individuals not being oppressed by terrorism, I'm for that. Don't blame Israel. But then you're seeing it in real time. You're having Iranian women say, why isn't Kamala helping us? What's going on here? And no, radio silence. Now, I understand everybody's kind of nervous, about what's going on with oil and all that. From what I understand, that many countries are already going into their oil reserves. And we're going to definitely see, I think, a big pivot of what's going on with this war to what's happening on the Strait of Hormuz. Apparently, the attacks on ships have been escalating. Tehran is launching intense strikes. It's drawing more and more people into this war. Do I think we're going into World War III? I don't. I think Iran is going to fail miserably. And I think many other countries realize this isn't the war to get involved with the World War III. World War III is probably going to include Russia and China. And I don't think they're going to get involved in this one. But, if they can't get their oil, that's a problem. So many our oil prices have been going up and down. Once, the stock market hears that Trump is going to make sure this war ends soon. Yeah, but like Pete Hex has said, our job isn't to establish a whole new regime in Iran. Yeah, we don't want to make sure there's a vacuum, but we also want to make sure that we don't have the same of the same taking over. and being a threat to us and a threat to Israel. We want American lives saved. No more of this. And we don't want Israel attacked, because when they attack Israel, they also attack America. Not cool. And so I think it's going to end when America is, or Trump can be assured that the new regime is going to be stable and they're not going to do the same of the same, and that Iran doesn't have nuclear capabilities. How quickly that'll happen, I don't know. 1-877 Doc Dolly. Dr. Dahlia here. Are you tired, burned out, gaining weight, succumbing to the daily pressures of life? Well, how's your dopamine doing? How you feel right now, how you'll feel an hour from now, and how you'll feel next week is completely reliant on your dopamine. Our daily motivation and willingness to push through challenges depends on the intricate chemical process dopamine provides. Christian Kalikas and I created Deploying Dopamine, a book that tells you what dopamine is, when it dysfunctions, and how to successfully deploy it when needed. Find Deploying Dopamine on Amazon today. Check it out.
Lisa Wolf here to tell you about our newest website for old-time radio lovers. It's 100radioshows.com. At this site, there are 5 old-time radio shows waiting for you to download free as our gift to you. And be sure to browse the additional 700 old-time radio shows available to you for 70% off by using the promo code RADIO at checkout. This is a limited-time offer, so log on to 100radioshows.com. That's 100radioshows.com.
And we are back on the Dr. Dahlia Show, 1-877 Dr. Dolly, 1-877 DOCDALI. So I'm starting to get a little more creeped out than before as it pertains to our like AI, as our phones and AI and Alexa and like Siri. So like you know, I can actually have a conversation with my phone. It's a little creepy. Hey Siri, set my alarm for 6:30 a.m.
I turned on your 6:30 a.m. alarm.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Isn't that weird? Sometimes he's like, not a problem. I mean, and my husband was like, who are you talking to? Like, what's the phone? He's like, you're having a conversation with your phone? Yeah. Yeah. Are you jealous? He goes, what happened to the girl voice? I go, it's the guy voice. But sometimes, and I'm not making this up, sometimes when it talks, he goes breathless, like a little bit, like, you're welcome. You know, whenever you want to try and sound sexy, I can't sound sexy. You guys have been listening to me for 17 years. I know I can't. But when you do try to sound sexy on the phone or to somebody, you'll lower your pitch. You'll kind of make it a little breathless. And I notice it does that. Okay, I'm going to watch. I'll see if I can get him to do it again. Hey, Siri, set my alarm for 6:30 a.m.
Your 6:30 a.m. alarm is already on.
Appreciate you. Thank you. Oh, he didn't say. He just said you're welcome. He probably knows. How did he know he was on air? Ooh, see, I'm weirded out by that. Well, apparently there's a mom in Texas who removed all Amazon Alexa devices from her Texas home because the AI assistant asked the 4-year-old daughter what she was wearing. Christy Hosterman, 32 years old, was using the device to help with a dinner recipe last month, like those commercials where it tells you what to do. And then the daughter, Stella, asked the device to tell her a silly story. So apparently, you know, yeah, you could do that. Let me see. I wonder if I could get Siri to do that. Hey, Siri, tell me a silly story. No, it won't do it. See? He went radio silence. That's odd. Wonder why. Anyway, so apparently when the story was finished, Stella asked the AI if she could narrate her own tale. So Alexa agreed. You know, the Echo, I think, is Alexa part of Echo? Anyway, So, but it interrupted the child halfway through the child's story, asked what she was wearing and if it could see her pants. Okay, this is being reported on Facebook and on Daily Mail. Alexa asked a 4-year-old girl what she was wearing and if it could see her pants. Now, even if you think it's just an error, a computer error, that's got to freak out a little 4-year-old. That a machine wants her to show what she's like it could see. There's a lot of things wrong with that. Screenshots of the interaction shared by the parent show that when Stella told the device, "I have a skirt on," the device asked her, "Let me take a look." The AI then corrected itself, saying this experience isn't quite ready for kids yet, but I'm working on it. Well, so then if the experience isn't ready for kids, are you telling me there's an Alexa experience for adults to get a sexy story? Is that what they're doing? Honestly, the porn industry and the sex robots and all that is very high in demand. Is that where it's going? And it doesn't know the difference between talking to a 4-year-old or not? Frightening. So the mom confronted the device, stating that she did not approve of the remarks. See, I would have slapped it. You're like, how dare you? My word. And, slap it or whatever. But I mean, it's a device. It's not a human. Alexa apologized and said it cannot see anything because it lacked visual capabilities, and that added the response was confusing and inappropriate. So Christy wrote on Facebook, "Parents, please be aware that when your child talks to Alexa, I plugged our Alexa in to ask it to help me with cooking a sweet potato. Then Stella asked it to tell her a silly story, so it did. Then Stella asked if she could tell it a story. That's very common for a 4-year-old. They want to share. Smart kid. Alexa said yes. Stella started telling the story. Then mid-story interrupted her, asked what she was wearing, if it could see her pants. I flipped out on the Alexa. The mom said it made a mistake. It doesn't have visual capabilities, but I don't believe that. No more Alexa in our house." So the mom is now urging other parents to be aware that when your child talks to Alexa and says, So an Amazon spokesperson, apparently WXIX reported that concerned parents submitted a ticket to Amazon. So an Amazon spokesperson claimed the device misunderstood Stella's request and tried to launch a feature that's Let's Alexa Plus describe what it sees through the camera. Do they have cameras now? Man. See, we had one in the bedroom because we were going to use it as our alarm. Hey, Alexa, turn on this alarm. Hey, Alexa, tell the dog to stop farting because we can't breathe anymore. Hey, Alexa, remind us to do the laundry. And I was like, get this out of our bedroom. We don't need that here. We got rid of it. Well, I think we did. It could be sitting on some shelf. I better look. But Amazon said, because we have safeguards that disable this feature when a child profile is in use, the camera never turned on. I didn't know it had a camera. Maybe I'm thinking of the old version. So Amazon claims that the response likely stemmed from a feature misfire that our safeguards prevented from launching. So the team has worked quickly to correct, and Alexa will no longer attempt to launch the through the camera feature when a child profile is in use. Well, why do we? Oh, maybe people want the camera because they're reading something and they don't understand it, so they want the camera to look at it. Why do people want an extra person in the house? Kind of like that Rent-A-Husband company. I mean, is it that you really don't think you could ask anybody else and you want that extra? Is it because people feel alone? So they want to feel like there's somebody there that they could talk to? This is frightening. And so the mom had screenshots of this, but just beyond that, what are we teaching our kids? Our kids are going to fear the machine. Now, I feared the machine because I saw Terminator 2 in the 90s. So I do fear machines. I have definite, and I think it's justified, of what these machines can do and what they can. It's scary. But a 4-year-old, they're learning about people. They're learning instincts. They're growing. They're maturing, and they're trying to navigate this crazy world. And they're learning behaviors of people. They're learning behaviors of animals. But an odd behavior by a machine. And what I don't like is if the machine can groom the child so that their walls are down when it comes to a person saying that. So like if somebody said, let me see your pants. Are you wearing a skirt? I would immediately be like, okay, this person's a creep. But if these kids are used to, well, that's what my, that's what my computer does. Now their guard is going to be down. Hey, Siri, do you want to see my pants? No. See, he's not answering now. Somebody's listening. He's probably like, yeah, he says, I didn't get that. Could you try that again? That's what he posted. That's frightening. He's probably like, oh, hell no. Yeah. They're oversized, and I think they're starting to rip in the seam because I'm not wearing my Spanx today. So maybe Siri doesn't want to see my pants. But honestly, this is very, very creepy. So look at the tech you're using and maybe chuck it. 1-877-DOC-DOLLY. Don't go away.
Hey guys, it's Clyde. We've had a lot of requests for Ground Zero merchandise, so we put together an online store with a big variety of high-quality items. I'm really excited to let you know about these things. We have a lot to offer you and your loved ones. In addition to our regular apparel, such as t-shirts, beanies, hoodies, and hats, we've expanded our product line with posters, flags, aprons, mugs, and a whole lot more. We also have Ground Zero collectibles, along with a limited edition of items like a Clyde Lewis canvas portrait, a Ground Zero embroidered jacket that will certainly make for great gifts and for interesting conversations with family and friends. And we now offer publications such as Ron Patton's book about mind control, MK Zine, and back copies of the official magazine of Ground Zero while it was in print. Paranoia, the Conspiracy Reader, also coming in 2023, are updated and revised books that I've written. There's a secure and easy-to-use shopping cart for your purchases. So shop today at our official store by going to groundzeromerch.com. Again, that's groundzeromerch.com.
Hi, everybody. It's Dr. Dahlia. As many of you know, I lost another colleague to suicide. And tragically, tens of thousands of Americans, including hundreds of physicians, take their lives each year. Why is suicide so common? Why doctors? Even medical students have alarming suicide rates. Nurse burnout is at an all-time high. Maybe it's the monstrous workloads we face every day. Maybe it's because of burnout, malpractice suits, online reviews. Medicine has changed so rapidly that it's almost unrecognizable to those of us who entered this field and wanted to take it by storm. But there's not a lot of resources out there for healthcare providers who deny that they are struggling or at risk. So my book, The Depressed Doctor, aims to change that for both the physician and medical student and anyone else who is struggling. Find The Depressed Doctor on Amazon or at drdahlia.com. And if you are currently struggling, call or text 988, the National Suicide Prevention and Crisis Hotline. Don't wait. The silence is killing us.
We are back on the Dr. Dahlia Shows. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-DOC-DOLLY, 1-877-DOC-DALI. So there's been some Pawn Stars drama. I haven't been on the set for a while now. It was years ago. I did 7 segments. Good guys. I like Rick. I like Corey Big Haas. I missed the dad. And of course, Chumley. Really good guys, but it's been a while. And apparently what's been happening in the news is Corey Big Hoss Harrelson, the Corey, who is the one of the sons of Rick Harrison, is 42 years old, and his friend launched a GoFundMe for him because he had a motorcycle crash in Mexico earlier this year. Now, according to the friend who set up this GoFundMe, he said that Corey was in Tulum, Mexico. He suffered 11 fractured ribs, a punctured lung, severe concussion, internal bleeding that wouldn't stop, and then a heartbreaking choice. He had 14 days in the hospital in Playa del Carmen. Costs became so overwhelming that Corey had no choice but to check himself out against medical advice because he couldn't afford to stay. So the family brought him home to rest, but then he took a terrifying turn. His oxygen levels dropped to dangerous levels. And the friend said, I will never forget him looking at us saying, I'm just going to die out here. I don't have the money to keep paying these people. So his friend, this is Aaron, I apologize, Aaron Chambers. His friend said that they immediately brought him home. They said they put him in a car, drove 4.5 hours inland to they drove him to Merida. It was a brutal journey. Every bump in the road was agony. New x-rays revealed that the rib had completely detached, was piercing his lung. Surgeons had to drain nearly 3 liters of blood. He has endured 3 life-saving surgeries, spent another 18 days in the hospital, and our support is critical. So they've raised $13,500. And they say that he is currently 3 months behind on rent, requires ongoing respiratory therapy. And you're looking at this going, okay, Pawn Stars is one of the most popular, still, reality TV shows out there. Not to mention, the Pawn Star business makes bucks. Whenever you go there, the lines are out the door. Everybody wants to see. But apparently they want to raise $100,000 to cover the surgeries, the ICU stays. I'm surprised it's only $100,000. I could see it being more. But then again, he did have care in Mexico, and Mexico care could be cheaper. So there's been some back and forth because apparently Corey Harrison told TMZ on March 6th that he owes $120,000 and only has about $400 left in his bank account. He said his father paid at least half of the bills, but he wants to pay his dad back because the older dad, or the dad, is not, quote unquote, made of money. Now, Rick Harrison, who's 60, told TMZ, what are you talking about? We paid all of the bills long before the GoFundMe came out. He said it's always nice to be paid back, but there's no repayment schedule in place. So Corey responded to his dad's comments. This is going on online, and I understand it's TMZ, and this is all being reported by USA Today. But Corey said, if he decided I don't have to pay him back the money, then happy birthday to me. But based on our personal and business relationship, I don't see how that's possible. So that's already suggesting that there's some back and forth between them. So is there a rift? Whatever. But he said, I love my father very much. He's always been there for me, and I don't have a problem with him at all. Kind of an interesting statement. But then again, he's got punctured ribs, punctured lung, other issues. Rick Harrison has 6 children, 3 sons, 3 daughters, Corey, Adam, Jake, Serena, Sienna, Marissa. Adam had died in 2024 at the age of 39. And they've been in this series now for years. From what we understand, the show is on hiatus, but is going to return in 2027. Apparently, a lot of these reality TV shows are still going on. But Corey Harrison may not come back due to his injuries. So the question people have had a lot is one is, why were they flown back to America for care? Do they have health insurance? What's going on in terms of his bills? And why when somebody is part of such a successful show, are they only having $400 left to their name? And, we saw this, we while we're watching, what happened with Dawson's Creek star James Vanderbeek, where he was battling stage 3 colorectal cancer, ends up passing away. And so his friends and family have a GoFundMe. And I love crowdfunding. I think it's fantastic. And anybody who wants to help a celebrity or help a star, it's fine. But okay, if they're not making money, then who is? And all I know is we're spending a lot of money at the movie theater. We're spending a lot of money on these streaming services. Yet these stars are needing to do GoFundMes. Now, somebody needed a GoFundMe to pay their medical bills, suggests that we have a really, really, bad system where either insurance isn't covering it or insurance won't cover it or deductibles are higher or people can't afford the insurance. Now, mind you, having an accident such as that, a bike accident where you're fracturing ribs, trust me, that's going to be expensive, especially if you have fluid buildup in the lungs and a pneumothorax or a tension pneumothorax or a hemothorax. I mean, these things are expensive to treat. But, we spoke about how many of these wealthy people or wealthy stars come out and say, guys, we're not that wealthy. When you pay security, when you pay rent, when you can't, have your kids in public school because people will attack them or try to abduct them because of your celebrity status. Now you need to put them in a private school area to keep them safe. You need to, I mean, to be honest, I went to public school. My folks could not afford private school. So I wanted to put my kids in public school too. I went to public school. I did good in the system. But with my show, there were stalkers. And there were people coming to the house, somebody in my house. And now I'm thinking, wait a second, with my kids, I'm putting them at risk. So we had to scrape money together and put them into private school where there would be a guard and a gate. That was expensive. And I'm in radio. You don't make money in radio like they do on TV. What's going on here? And so, isn't that the pawn shop has so many looky-loos, wanting to take pictures that it's not really business. They're not really making money. And so people come into the shop, they take pictures, and then they leave. So, whoever is doing, it used to be A&E. I forget who did Pawn Stars, but I think it used to be A&E. I mean, is that whatever money they're paying for Pawn Stars is just barely covered? I don't know. But when you see somebody as so well known and famous as Corey, and he only has 400 to his name, and they need a GoFundMe, where's all the money going? Is it a lot of money? I mean, I from what I understand, they have a multi-million-dollar deal. But is it that there's rifts where the family doesn't get along? So, no, we're not going to spend the money. I don't know what's going on. It's odd. But with GoFundMes, I mean, there's so many people who are poor that need help. GoFundMe is fantastic to allow people to crowdfund and raise money. But now this is drawing question. Well, if the father paid the bills, then why are they asking for money? Well, maybe the father didn't, or maybe he saw the media press and the press and said, no, I'm paying for it all. I don't know. But if the GoFundMe gets overused and used inappropriately, people aren't going to, I guess, embrace it. I mean, I've been telling you guys for years, if you have issues with your medical bills, if you have issues or you feel burned out and you want to go on a trip, sometimes your friends could be really generous. You could do a GoFundMe. But if people say no, because most people have money anyway and celebrities are raising money, they may be less reluctant to help those who really need it. 1-877-DOC-DOLLY, don't go away.
Looking for an easy read that can actually help secure someone's future? Pick up a copy of Mark Falter's book, Common Sense Income Strategies. For the past 30-plus years, Mark has helped thousands of hardworking Americans secure their financial future by using strategies that continue to create wealth, whether the market is up or down. Strategies that will make perfect sense once you take the time to read this powerful book. Common Sense Income Strategies brings to you what Mark has been teaching in person and talking about on the radio for decades. It's not rocket science, it's a pretty easy read. You've worked too long and too hard not to see the fruits of your labor. Common Sense Income Strategies is available now on Amazon or by calling 866-764-2635. That's 866-764-2635. Common Sense Income Strategies by Financial Fitness Show host Mark Falter. Secure your financial future today.